It's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Yeah. Welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, where Aston Villa are on the beach, the Champions League beach at the moment. And I hope a lot of their players, or at least Unai Emery, will be sitting back watching Crystal Palace, eating popcorn, like me, tomorrow as Aston Villa put on a decent display for the away travelling fans. Paddy, how's it been since we last spoke?
Relaxing. I feel like I'm a little bit on the beach myself. I was just thinking there while the intro was playing that this is possibly the most relaxed I've been about a competitive game since we beat Brighton on the last day of the season in the Championship to make Newcastle champions. That was the last game I remember us playing that we'd nothing to play for.
2018.
2018. Yeah.
Madness. Absolute madness, yeah. It's been
there you go.
And like that's 6 years of having something to play for. Well, the Dean Smith year, where we started off the 7-2 against Liverpool and then we kind of faded away. There was nothing really to play for at the end of the season that season, but still, yeah. Right,
there was places and money and everything else that we were worried about at that time. But
I suppose, yeah.
That season in the Championship, the end of that, where everybody just wanted to see the end of it and try and push on to the next one, I think was the last time I felt this way about a game.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't care who he puts out tomorrow. Obviously, don't want to go out and get spanked, but I think it's just refreshing to get this done early because I was worried it was going to come down to this, and to play a team that's unbeaten in 6 and has won 5 of those last 6 wouldn't be the kind of fixture I would have liked to come into at this stage to secure Champions League football. No guarantee the Spurs were going to do their job anyway, but still, we were looking at what job we would have to do. And here we are. Job done. And everybody just looking forward to a party tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow isn't so much a game as tomorrow for me is Operation Ollie. Tomorrow is get Ollie Watkins his 20th goal. That's what I think that would be success tomorrow. You know, just break all the records we possibly can break. And Ollie getting his 20 goals breaks a record. We've already broken the record for goals, points, wins in the season. You know, so why not go in and just do it, and just have all these records, because Unai Emery, to break all those records in one season is just absolutely monumental. And we'll talk about something that we have coming up at the end of this podcast later. But the records that we've just slain, the beasts we've slain, the bad luck, the omens that we've laughed in the face of this year. It's just been an absolutely cracking year. It really, really has. And for Ollie to get to 20 goals for me, I think that's what I'm naming tomorrow is Operation Ollie.
Yeah, I don't know whether that will. Obviously, he'd want to get it. Would it mean that much to him now? I think he strikes me as the kind of guy that personal accolades don't mean a whole pile to him. There was a time where I would have believed it would have done, but I just think he's a more accomplished, more rounded, and more relaxed kind of character than he was 3 years ago. So I believe that the most important thing for him right now is to get himself into that England squad. And who's to say that adding that 20th goal might just do it? We've seen another good few Villa players be left out, especially all the French guys were all left out of the squad. So a lot going on, and you know, the selfish me is going, okay, that's great. That's an extra rest that we could get these players to have. Obviously, we've no skin in the game, but I think on a personal level, I'd want every player to play for their country at the highest level they possibly could, because it also adds to their experiences. But if it means people are getting rests, like we see, as I said, the French lads, Zaniolo missed out through injury. Obviously, I think Pau Torres was named, wasn't he?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So there won't be a whole pile of it, but yeah, there's players going to be playing tomorrow as well, as someone mentioned there, that will never be seen again in a Villa shirt. We'd imagine that, you know, things might change for. I know Gig Sharma is saying it's for Carlos, Dina, and Chambers. I agree with one of them. But who knows what's going to happen in the next few weeks. But look, it's a game that, while I find it really, really difficult to get excited about, I'm just so happy that we've the job done, and I'm so looking forward to seeing all the fancy dress and everything that the fans go with tomorrow for the crack.
Me too. I think it's going to be brilliant. Yeah. Max's Villa on tour is going to be absolutely box office. Like after this, it's just going to be great crack. Paddy, I'm just second guessing ourselves here about Spain. I'm not sure. Did they name their preliminary yet?
Maybe they didn't.
That's why I'm scrolling. They did. No, they haven't named it yet. But because when I'm looking at this here, it's they've got a marked here with an asterisk saying last squad named for the March friendlies against Colombia and Brazil. So they haven't named it yet.
Okay.
Maybe they were waiting until after their league finished. I don't know, but
yeah. Well, I know all our South American contingent as well also have Copa America, and also talk of Emi Martinez playing at the Olympics as well. Which look, it's hard to stop people and their ambition, and you know, to sit down at the end of your career and have a World Cup medal, Premier League medal, Champions League medal, and an Olympic medal, a Copa America medal. All these things obviously mean the world to him. You know, for what he's done for his country, you couldn't hold it against him. Albeit if they get to the final, he could miss a Premier League game, which is the worrying part at the beginning of the next season. But it's very hard. It's the highest possible accolade you can have is playing for your country, and it's very hard to look at the likes of Luca Dean missing out, Moussa Diaby missing out, guys who have had. Well, I think Luca Dean at the up until maybe the last quarter of the season, as with a lot of players who are just out on their feet, has had a really good season. Diaby blew hot and cold, didn't exactly set the world on fire, but was being picked for his country. So it fortunes with Aston Villa, and he hasn't got the goals that would have spurred him into there. So. I'm rambling here now, Neil, while you're finishing off that bucket of popcorn. Feel free to jump in.
No, for once, as you said, this is the most relaxed you felt about a game. This is the most relaxed I felt about a preview. Hence the fact that for once I'm not interrupting you after two sentences. You know, so this is great. But if I'm right in saying, Paddy, about players that are going to be going away for the off season, it's only going to be Tielemans, Martinez, Torres. It's like Kansas unlikely to force his way into the squad. McGinn, Luis, and Ollie. John Duran. John Duran will be gone as well, I presume, with Colombia. Yeah. So interesting. There's no whole pile like me. I know that's the spine of our team I've just named, but it's interesting that, you know, all the players that will be able to stay behind. I think it's okay. I think it's good. It's, you know, it's better than having 20 players gone on international duty, because I think Unai Emery will still have stuff to work on, and I think I think we're going to get our business done really early this off season. I think really early, so that he can embed new bits and pieces. So it's I'm also rambling, and I was only talking for about 90 seconds. But
I definitely agree with
tomorrow,
you that the business will be done early. 100% believe it'll be done early. It's interesting times for everybody within the squad to see what the plans are going forward, and I reckon there's a price tag on everybody's head if should someone come looking for them. So it'll be interesting to see who he chooses to ship out. At we've a fair idea who he considers the dead wood that aren't getting a look in, but does he consider the likes of John Duran or Luca Dean or the likes disposable? So it's and we know Luca Dean is on huge wages, so all of these things are all just going to fit into place over the next few weeks.
I think you're right in that, Paddy. I think there's going to be a couple of business decisions made this off season, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with a couple of business decisions as long as the other decision on the other end is to replace them, because the squad is threadbare. At the end of this off season, I would like us to have an extra 2 more senior players than we had. That's the way I want to look at it. I want to be able to name 25 players on a European squad list this year. I don't want to be naming 23 or 22 like we did this year. That's I'm not like okay for the Conference League, that's fine, but in a way that's literally the only black mark I could give the planning for this season. Was it was at no stage during the year could I get my head around that. The fact that we weren't able to name a full complement for Europe because we didn't have players.
And I don't think that was a planning complaint that we can have. I think it's more of a, at the time it was cutting the cloth to fit, and now with I keep hearing it being called PSR now. Does that mean fair play is out the window? I don't know. I will always call it financial fair play, and we need to obviously abide by those rules. And it's changing all the time, and there's new regulations being approved at the moment. So I think the most important thing is that we're sustainable, and being sustainable and being successful to get to where we are is brilliant. So we have got a very threadbare squad, yet we got it over the line, and we're all gloriously over the moon with what's happened this week. And here we are on the cusp of our first Champions League. I won't say European Cup adventure, but it's a Champions League adventure, which is completely different to anything the club has ever been involved in before, and much more lucrative. So there is going to be a need to make a lot of changes and to have, like, when you look around the squad, you would have said Newcastle had an awful lot of players, but they finished the season with a very threadbare squad as well, and a lot of young kids on the bench. So it's not just us. There's a lot going on. I personally think the squads need to be possibly increased by 2 if everybody is coming down on this. And we've seen everybody. Chelsea, I think Arsenal are probably the least hit by all the injuries. Would you agree?
From memory, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Man City have had a few, nothing too major, but we take the 2 of them out of it. Liverpool have been decimated. Chelsea, Newcastle, ourselves, even down to Notts Forest, who have 210 people in their squad. They were decimated at one point. So yeah, it's strange times, but there's decisions that need to be made, I think, to make things a bit easier. We spoke about, like, we played the equivalent of, I can't remember how many extra games it was with all the injury time that were played, and then obviously all
like 6 games to go in the season, we had played 10 extra matches because of injury time. Sorry, 1 extra match. Was it? I can't remember. It was bonkers amount of time.
Yeah, it was
it could have been 10 extra games or something like that. It was a ridiculous amount of between Europe and everything.
Yeah. So it's a lot to carry on a threadbare squad, and it was threadbare from the start. So there's a lot of rumour circulating about who's going to come in, and I say bring it on, Neil, because as I'm from Monday morning, you're on your own. I might get on to talk about the new kit. The new kit, it looks like it's going to be launched on Monday morning, so I'll come on and chat to you about that.
I didn't know it was going to be launched Monday morning.
Well, it's looking.
You're breaking that news to me. Did you just break that news to everybody else? Were you not supposed to say that, Paddy?
Well, there's something happening Monday morning, I think. So we might do a podcast Monday at some stage, but other than that, I'll be on the beach myself.
Yeah. Are you Are you on holidays next week?
I'm on.
When's the conference
I'm
final?
on. I'm on podcast holidays for the next few weeks.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll be knocking them out. I've got about 4 or 5 of them already preloaded already. Matteo Sule, Hermoso I haven't done. I never did anything on him when we were linked to him previously. Alex Bryan, I've got an updated one on, and another player that I'm just convinced that I don't know why. I just think we are 100% going to sign this other player. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Paddy, I just have to ask you this question. I'm going to ask you this question, but I'm also going to because I don't want this to turn into a transfer one because we're 15 minutes in and we've barely spoken about the game tomorrow. Mark Wood, our good friend Mark Wood, based on squad needs, Barkley on a free. No, the reason I want to talk about this is I've been speaking to the We Are Luton Town podcast because everybody was saying Ross Barkley's on a free, and I never his contract isn't only 1 year. From my understanding, that the club had an option for a second year. So I don't think he's on a free transfer next year. That's the big thing. And everyone seems to think that he is, even the media included. Whereas Rob Edwards came out, I think it was last week, and said he's got his contract is more than 1 year, lads. And then they pressed him on how long it was. He goes, I'm not telling you how long it is, but it's more than 1 year. So, and he was smiling away. And the guys from We Are Luton Town seemed to think that it was. They said, we don't know how long it is, but we think it's a two-year contract because the club took up an option on his contract to extend it for another year. So they are expecting a bidding war. The Luton Town fans are. Yet all the media are talking about a free transfer, and Rob Edwards is saying it's more than a 1 year contract. So who knows where it is now? There could be other clauses in there as well with regards to relegation that he's allowed null and void that 1 year contract or that 1 year extension or whatever. I don't know, but it's a really weird situation. But would you have him anyway, Paddy, I think?
Pardon?
Would you have him? Barkley?
I think I would on a free transfer. I think he could do a job for us. Definitely at certain stages of this season, we could have really benefited from having him there. My understanding was that it was a year contract with an option of a second one should they stay in the Premier League. The fact that they've gone down now means that it's up to them to renegotiate or he walks away free. That's my understanding of it. That could be wrong. I'm not saying that that's gospel, but that was my understanding of it at the time. So, yeah.
It makes sense. Like he would have put in protections for himself being a 29-year-old going on 30-year-old player to say, okay, I'm not signing a 3-year contract with you in case we yo-yo for the next couple of years. He probably still thinks he can play in the Premier League, or maybe doesn't want to be tied to Luton if he wants to go and cash in sweet Saudi money or even go to the MLS or something like that. I don't know. He's never been. I think he's been a player that's never really made the most brilliant choices for himself, other than this move to Luton. I think over his career, that move to Chelsea was financially very good for him, but from a playing time was only so. Moved to Nice. Didn't he move to Nice? I think he did. He went to Nice, didn't he? Here's me second guessing myself there on the podcast straight away. Ross Barkley. Did Ross Barkley play with Nice? See, I shouldn't second guess myself. Too good for that. Ross Barkley played with Nice. Yeah, he did.
I knew he played in France. I couldn't have told you who he played for.
Yeah. And now he's with Luton Town. So, yeah, fair play. I hope it, I personally, I think he would be a body in there. I don't know, would he, depends on what other options are. It would be my, if we get Alex Bryan, if we were to get another 1 or 2 players in there in the midfield, I think Ross Barkley isn't really needed, I don't think. But look, we need bodies in midfield, and I think we're going to stock up midfielders this year. I think we're going to see more midfielders than we think this season.
I think they will be looking around at options similar to, and that's the reason why you're saying it is because he potentially on a free transfer, lower than normal wages. People probably big teams reluctant to take a chance on him. So possibly the wages would be beneficial to us if they're low. But I agree. Someone in the comments there said it's not a forward signing. They get relegated. I don't think them being relegated is relevant because it takes a squad to get relegated, not just one player.
And he was their best player, arguably outside.
He's arguably their best player this season. No. Yeah.
He wasn't. Clayton Morris was Carlton Morris was he scored some amount of goals. But I think what I was getting at there was Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Aston Villa are too good to have a player in there, and I think Unai would work wonders. I think that there's probably if it's put in front of Unai Emery, Ross Barkley, and you have to pay for him, and it's not in a free, or Ollie Arblaster from Sheffield United. I think he takes Arblaster every day and twice on a Sunday, because he's 20 years of age and he's moldable and he's going to cost less, you'd imagine. And he's got all these future in front of him. We've seen that he can want to do that with players that he likes that are young, like Morgan Rogers as well. So it'd be interesting to see what we do there. But it's also interesting that we've been linked to 3 English. That's true. Is that us? No, I've no problem with signing. I think we should sign players from relegated teams. So I'm not a anti-relegation person at all. No way, no how. But it's interesting we've been linked with quite a few English midfielders there, Ollie Arblaster, Barkley, and then Conor Gallagher today as well. And maybe that is because that they want to have those 4 homegrown players, or those 4 nation-grown players for the Champions League to see, so that they can actually put in their quota of players this year, that they aren't playing with a strip deck, in the Champions League this year. The Champions League, Paddy, you got to say it. Playing in the Champions League. Fucking sounds good.
Keep saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm heading into a very quiet summer as I save for this Champions League journey. 4 home games. It's gonna be an expensive autumn being a Villa fan, and winter for that matter, because regardless of how we do in the Champions League, we're going to be in Europe until the end of January, because there's 2 games in January. So it's really interesting times ahead.
Absolutely. I think that is for sure. And I will be coming up with ways to fake my own death so that I can get to a Champions League game, because that might be the only way I get the hall pass to go over this coming year, because the fundage will be extra tight this year as we save for our nuptials in 2025. But I think I'll fake my own death, claim the life insurance, and then suddenly reappear under a different name at some stage. So watch this space for that. And if you're anybody in the life insurance game, you didn't hear that as well, by the way. You didn't hear that. Anyway, Paddy, Crystal Palace, go on, have a slap at trying to name the team he puts out tomorrow.
Well, that's the difficult thing, because if we go back 3 weeks, I said to you I want to see Joe Gauchi play in goal the last day of the season, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility that could happen. I envisage there'll be changes, but then again, he doesn't want to go out and have this. You're only as good as your last game, as they say. I know this is an extra special season, but you are remembered for your last game, especially with the media, and they'd love to give us a tonkin if we took a spanking tomorrow. So I would imagine he'll go out with a good spine of a team, but I would imagine we might see the likes of Kane Kessler-Hayden in there, the likes of Young Tim in there, and who knows, maybe even an Omari Kellyman in there. But I wasn't joking about Joe Gauchi either. I think it's a perfect opportunity to put him in there and see how he is, depending on how he's got on in training. We don't know that. So he hasn't put him in there in place of Robin Olsen so far. But obviously we had more important fish to fry in the last few games than we have tomorrow. So let's see what happens.
For me tomorrow, I play Ken Kessler-Hayden at right back. I know, look, the reason for that is because we kind of either need to shit or get off the pot at right back now with Konza. Does he move out there full-time right back, or does he come back into the centre half position? Do we go to 3 at the back? Paddy, our text conversations. I still am not 1,000,000% convinced that we won't line up a 3 at the back next season in a lot of games. I don't know why. Just some of the players we've been linked to makes me think that we're going to go 3 central midfielders. And if we go 3 central midfielders, I think we're going with 3 at the back and wing backs. But anyway, don't quote me on that, because as I say, it's just some of the players we've been linked with lead me to believe that that's a possibility. But if Konza is going to be a right back next season, then we need to make that decision. I would like Ken Kessler-Hayden to go out there and see what he can do against a really good side. He's going to be up against probably Michael Olise. out there on that left-hand side, and he's going to have Tariq Mitchell running at him as well there. So he's not exactly going to have a handy day of it. I put him in there and I'd see what he can do. And then make our decision about, like, because we know what Konza can do out there. We know what Cash can do outside there. But, you know, I think that framing of playing Konza out there this season, I think, look, it worked well for us. But, you know, I think we need to know what we're going to do out there. I think we need to know what we're going to do out there, and I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility he plays in there as well. Maybe young Tim gets, like, I don't see him making massive changes. I see him maybe changing one or two. I wouldn't be surprised to see Watkins and Duran start up front, up top together. Wouldn't be surprised to see that tomorrow. Give Diaby a rest. McGinn, Louise, like, who scored have Callum Chambers playing central midfield. I don't think that's going to happen.
You never know.
Maybe you never know, is right, but maybe he goes Diaby one side, Bailey the other side, McGinn, Luis, Duran playing off Watkins. Maybe that's the way he goes tomorrow. Maybe he goes with young Tim in there.
I think the most important thing, given the fact that Elise, Eze, and JP Mateta are absolutely on fire, is that we marshal those three and we set out the team to look after those three, and it's further on up the pitch. And I include right back in there. If the defensive midfield is strong, if the two centre halves are strong, I think we'll be okay to change it up a little bit. But the injuries so we're obviously without Morgan Rogers, we're without Jacob Ramsey, and we're going to be without Zaniolo as well. So there's other areas we can use the younger players to come in there and have a go. What's to say he doesn't play young Tim in there and push McGinn on, or
probably.
I wouldn't imagine he would risk Tielemans again. I don't know whether they said Tielemans is fit or not, but I wouldn't imagine.
No, he's not. Tielemans is out.
Yeah, so
I
wouldn't have thought so after Monday night, looking at him coming off. That was the job we needed him to do Monday night. He got the job done. He got 60 minutes under his belt. But he needs a bit of rest and recovery, especially if he's going to be in the Belgium squad for the Euros. So look, it's been a long season. I don't imagine we're going to see 6 or 7 young lads come in, but I think I'll be happy enough with 2 or 3.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense to have Tim and what you call him, and Ken Kessler-Hayden in there. Now, again, the other side of me thinks that he won't play Ken Kessler-Hayden out there from the start at right back. That he might give him a half an hour at the end. But I want to see him get decent amount of minutes so we can take a right good look at him, because, as I say, I think right back is probably more under scrutiny than and probably left back. I think the full back positions are under more scrutiny than I think we want to believe. I think as fans know, for obvious reasons, you mentioned Dina's wages had an absolutely super season. Dina, like, he's been absolutely brilliant. Alex Moreno has been injured. He's injured again, you know. And when he played at times this season, you know, he did look like he had a bit of ring rust. There could be some minor surgery done there as well. But as Unai Emery said, we can't go out and spend huge this year unless we sell huge. So it's we do have maneuver room, but we're going to need to be smart in the market, which we have been, because I shared a graphic with you earlier on, Paddy, or a message with you, that Villa's net spend since 2021 is a lot lower than you think it is. Like, it's lower than. I'm actually just going to bring up the message here and I'll read it out, because it was interesting. It was very interesting indeed. Where is it? The wrong Villa group. So the teams that have a larger net spend than Aston Villa since August 2021 are Chelsea at 620 million, Man United at 406 million, Arsenal at 397 million, Newcastle at 310 million, Tottenham at 302 million, Nottingham Forest at 208 million, Liverpool at 199 million, West Ham at 179 million, Bournemouth at 166 million, Crystal Palace at 166 million, Man City at 146 million, Brentford at 124 million, and then comes in Aston Villa at 108 million.
Number 13, is that correct?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 unlucky for some, and you might say unlucky for Aston Villa, given that we still fall foul of the PSR rules, you know. But look, it is what it is, I think, from that point of view. But there have been some great posts on online. There's a guy called Matt Burton, guys. If you aren't following him, Matt does some very good amateur analysis of spreadsheets and PSR and stuff like that, and he seemed to be able to kind of break. I can't remember what the hell it was now at this stage, but he seemed to break it down and was able to kind of give us the leeway that we have prior to Champions League money coming in next season. But I don't know when the cut-off date is when we can actually start to spend money again. That's the big problem. So I suppose the club will know that, obviously. Like if we have to have X amount of money by June the 30th and then we can start spending again on the 1st of July, well then look, that doesn't really matter. We might see more of the transfers later on, and then more of the big money transfers later on in the window. But let's see. I suppose we'll figure all that out as it happens over the course of the off season.
Yeah, no, and someone asked there in the comments why do we name Digne and Carlos as potential sales? Digne, 100% because of his wages. He's the highest paid player at the club without Coutinho there. And maybe even with Coutinho there, if memory serves me correct. And Carlos, I just think, is a saleable asset. He's had his Premier League time, and we'll probably sell him for more than what we paid for him. And that's why I believe that he could be one that goes out the door. And we know we've a lot more money coming in with the Champions League money, but we do need to balance the books and make sure the books are fine by, I believe, the 30th of June. You can extend that by a month in that you don't have to furnish your books for a month after that date. You just have to tell them, I think, that you're not going to actually be furnishing them with it until the 30th or 31st of July, whatever way it works. So there is a couple of months there of Champions of transfer business that can be sorted out. So fingers crossed that is the case.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I don't know. We won't even be thinking about stuff like that.
And I'm not like, sorry, you brought it up again there. I'm not having a go at Carlos. Like I believe Douglas Luiz is a hugely saleable asset as well. Do I think they're going to sell him? Don't know. Maybe. I just, like, when you look at players you can't replace. You can't replace Emi Martinez, and you cannot buy a top quality striker. So we're not going to be selling Emi Martinez, and we're not going to be selling Ollie Watkins. I think across the board, if a stupid bid comes in, other than those two players, they could be accepted.
I personally would be shopping Diego Carlos to Saudi, just seeing if we can tempt someone. He's got a good name, in and around European football. He's played a lot of football in Europe. I know he doesn't have Brazilian caps, and this isn't me trying to, like, I'm not saying we need to get rid of Diego Carlos, but like, we've got to be, there's business decisions to be made. That's what he said. Those two for me would be the two business decisions I could see being made. Unai Emery came out today and said Jacob Ramsey isn't going to be sold. He doesn't want to sell him. I think the other person that we might see out the door is probably John Duran, and that's going to split opinions for people. But once again, I think money is money in that instance there. Like, hey, if Chelsea want John Duran and we want Conor Gallagher, who says there isn't a deal to be done somewhere along the line? But then again, Chelsea wants to sell Gallagher for 50 million and get fucking pure profit. Who knows?
And if you look at the deals we've done with, we know Cameron Arthur's coming back into the squad. We know we can buy back. I think he's going to be sold again. I think he will, yeah. But he'll come back as our player before he's sold, obviously. But then you've got Aaron Ramsey and Jaden Philogene-Badace who went out on those. So what's to say we don't do that and chalk off a little bit of financial fair play on Duran and say, yeah, you can have him for 40 million, but we can buy him back for 40 million. So
what's to say we don't do it with Tim? And what's to say, or Ken Kester-Hayden? What's to say we don't end up selling Ken Kester-Hayden for 5 million or 6 million into the championship, and Tim goes for 7-8 million or whatever the case is to the championship as well? Who's to say? Like, I know that's not going to, cause ructions to our balance sheet, but there are multiple ways to skin this cat, I think. And I mean that figuratively, not literally. But there are multiple ways, I think, to get to look at this.
Mm.
You know, Robin Olsen, put it this way: if Robin Olsen is sold, we don't need to replace him.
Well, yeah, with Sinisalo there and with Joe Gauchi there, yeah.
We've replaced him already. We've got Sinisalo coming back to the club. Who's to say we don't? We sell Olsen, we don't, and let the two boys fight it out for the backup goalkeeper. You know, Philip Marshall is back. Hey, Unai's young fella is at the club as well. Oh, he's going to want to create a pathway to the team for his own young fella, isn't he? Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
If he's good enough, I'm absolutely fine with that.
Yeah, I'm 100% okay with nepotism if they're good enough. 100% okay. Neil Zuma.
Don't be skinning cats, Neil.
No, don't be skinning cats. No. But yeah, so like I think you want to talk about pure profit. If Robin Olsen gets let go this summer, his wages off the wage book is pure profit because we don't need to replace him in theory. In actuality, I'm going to say, in realistic terms, we do not need to replace him, considering we've got a guy who's just been on loan at Exeter, who's coming back, and he's their player of the year, if I'm not mistaken, or their young player of the year, and he's playing in goals, and Celtic apparently want to sign him. You know, so how's about we hold on to him, or maybe we flog him, and we put Philip Marshall as our third goalkeeper.
Yeah,
there's lots of ways.
Yeah,
lots of permutations, permutations there as well. Anyway, now we're rambling, Paddy. Now we're really rambling.
Now we've managed to spend 36 minutes talking about anything but the match, and that just shows that we literally, number one, we don't really fucking care what's going to happen tomorrow, and number two, anything could happen tomorrow, and it's nearly impossible for us to go and worry about that at this stage because it actually means so little, which is such a breath of fresh air to go into this game of the season not worrying.
Yeah. Paddy, keep talking there for a minute because I want to sugar. I want this flipping work now. Paddy, Dennis White puts in there about Coutinho. Am I right in saying Coutinho still has more years in his contract? So
one, I think, one left, I think.
Yeah. That's what I thought too. That's what I thought.
Shout out all about health and fitness said he or she has lost nearly 4 stone this year, lost my beer gut, and it weren't that hard. Tend to share it with me because I'm in that process now at the moment myself.
Yeah, I found yours, lad. Wherever you lost it, I picked it up and I doubled on it, unfortunately, because this year has not been good for my waistline. No way, sorry. Yeah.
CC says you two are funny, and it's funny to see you so chilled in the chat. Yeah, it does feel funny being so chilled. Michael Huggins says, congratulations to Neil and Paddy on a successful year and to anyone who's been part of the journey. Tomorrow will be a party regardless of the score. And you know what, Michael Huggins, one of the highlights of this year has been becoming a friend of yours. You're a gentleman and fair play to you. And thank you so much for all your contributions to our podcast.
Here, indeed. Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's been amazing. We've met a lot of great people this year. It's been a brilliant year for the podcast. We've chugged along. I don't know, Paddy. We missed a couple of team sheet tantrums here and there, I think. But we didn't miss a whole pile. I think it was only one. I think we missed one team sheet tantrum. We missed a couple of post matches and then did them like 2 days later or a day later or something like that. So I was proud of that, the way we were able to get through one of the most hectic seasons we've had and not miss a whole pile. But what I wanted to tell you guys about, and the reason I was asking Paddy to stall there, but you are right, Michael, and Paddy, you are right as well. Thank you so much to every single one of you guys. And the reason that I think that's very apt is because do we agree on when we're going to do this tomorrow, Paddy? Are we going to do it tomorrow?
We're going to do it tomorrow night, didn't we said we'll do our post-match and then come back on.
So we do the post-match and we come back on tomorrow night at 9:30 to do this, which we are going to be handing out our Emery Awards, the Emerys, which are going to be for Love of Paul McGrath end-of-season awards. And rumour has it that the Unai Emery bust, which I painstakingly put together or made on various different using various different pieces of software. There is a rumor out there that one of those, are maybe 3 of those, maybe 3D printed, in anticipation of potentially handing them out to players. And if that happens, it'll absolutely be bonkers. But the Emerys are for the Love of Paul McGrath end of season awards, and we're going to do them tomorrow night at 9:30. So we're going to do our post match podcast, and then we're going to come on again then at 9:30. We'll be wearing our Paddy formal attire tomorrow night. No messing and joking, right? It's shirts and ties, the whole lot. And we expect everybody 100%. Else to be in ball gowns, shirts and ties, suits, cummerbunds, the whole lot, the whole 9 yards. Shine those shoes tonight. Now you've plenty of warning. So tomorrow's going to be.
I might be in shorts from the waist down. Is that okay?
That's fine. Yeah, I'm okay with that. But yeah, so we'll be doing our end of season awards tomorrow night, and we're really looking forward to it, because hey, rest for no man. Then on Monday it's transfer season straight through, because I'm hoping to do 30 podcasts in 30 days on Aston Villa over the coming month, and probably put my relationship in jeopardy. But some things are just very important, aren't they? And that's transfer season with Aston Villa. So join us tomorrow night for the Emerys.
I'm going to do something unprofessional here and put an idea out there that if I put it out there, I probably can't take it back. So we're going to put it out there, but you're going to have to sort out the prize. So I reckon, while we do these Emerys tomorrow, that if people comment underneath with a photo of them, we'll do a best dress listener and do a prize for them. What do you reckon?
Absolutely. Comment on Twitter, is it?
Twitter, whatever, Instagram, if you want to send it to us, whatever.
You can't pop them up on
can't put them here. No.
Yeah.
But people can put it underneath, so it'll be a bit of crack.
Yeah. That's how I'm okay for that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. We give away a prize then. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm okay with that for sure.
Good stuff.
But yeah, it's we'll definitely we'll come back with our end of season awards, and because I remember last year, Paddy, I don't even think we did a season review, or we did it like 3 weeks after the season finished, and we were like, hey, we're miles too late for this crack here, but we're going to do it anyway. We feel like we should do it, so so we'll do it anyway. And people saying it looks like Des O'Connor. It looks very like Unai Emery from his Valencia times. I think it looks very like Unai Emery. There was worse ones I did. There was one that looked better than the Terry Wogan statue here in Limerick, or in Limerick in Ireland. If any of you want to see what Terry Wogan doesn't look like, go and see the statue of Terry Wogan in Limerick. It's akin to the Ronaldo one. It's really out there. This is what it is.
I was going to say it's worse, but it's not worse. The Ronaldo one is the worst one ever done.
The Ronaldo one is the worst one, yeah, exactly, for sure. But yeah, so join us tomorrow night at 9:30. But we will do a team sheet tantrum. It will be a shorter one tomorrow, because look, as I say, it's well, actually, it mightn't be. We'll see. But
we might have lots to talk about. It'll be interesting.
Might have tons to talk about, yeah, and then we'll do a post match as well, and we'll round out the season with a smile on our face, I hope, and hopefully we'll be talking about Ollie Watkins getting 20 goals for the first time ever. That an Aston Villa player would have done that in a Premier League season. So that'd be absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Wouldn't it just? And as somebody said in the comments there earlier, I lost it. If we get a penalty tomorrow, I think he takes it, regardless of what the score is.
yeah, I think so too. Yeah, let's. That would be great too, because I just want to see him. Operation Ollie tomorrow. That's what it is. Operation Ollie. Now, I've about 10 popcorn kernels here that I don't want to swallow. I certainly don't want to spit them out in the podcast, and they're making me sound like Marlon Brando as I end the podcast here, because I'm all stuck down here on my lip. So we're going to have to go. Thanks very much, everybody, for watching, for listening. How the hell we got? Do you know what? We should give ourselves an award tomorrow, Paddy, for getting 44 minutes out of this podcast, because this is an absolute. If anyone came for Crystal Palace information, I'm sorry, it just didn't happen. But thanks a million for coming anyway, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night, and stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.